So, hey everyone, and welcome to the course Deep Learning and Textual Analysis in Finance. This is for the winter semester 2021 and 2022. And what are we going to do in this course? So first of all, you will get information and course content from various sources. One of the sources is the corresponding course on the Elias system. Here you can find the slides that we are using here mainly, and also some information, some introduction for handling and getting to know Python. And yeah, that's basically it. And of course, during the semester, we'll add some more content. Then you will find a Google Collaboratory folder. Here in the folder you will find many examples that we use during the course, especially like pre-programmed models, networks, texture models, and so on. But we will also get familiar with this during the course and also during the exercises for the course. And of course, as you probably all have seen, you will find information on the StudIP course as well. And here you will also find probably a link to the Zoom meetings that we will have. If we don't find it, you can also use the link here. And we will meet every Wednesday at 12 p.m. And after this lecture, there will be an exercise which is hosted by my coworker, which is Lucas Marx, and you can find his email address here down below. Now, probably when starting with the course, the most important information for you is how you will how you can succeed in the course and how you're going to be graded in the course. So the ones of you who have already been visiting another course are probably familiar with this. We will have a short exam at the end of the course, which is basically just to make sure that you understood the basic concepts of the course. And this is going to be on the Elias system again, but we will do a training run for it before the end of the semester, and it will be up to like 10 questions, short questions, and a mixture of like multiple choices or some short textual answers, but nothing real dramatic. This is really just to make sure that you get the basic understanding of the course contents in theory. But especially the topics I'm teaching, I'm convinced that it's most important also that you get a hands-on approach. So this means that you really work with real data, that you work with the models by yourself. And of course, not only that you work and analyze stuff, but also that you draw the right conclusions especially with your economic understanding or your understanding that you gather in the financial area. So to make sure that you really succeed in doing this, we will do one project assignment. Maybe we will split the assignment into 2 sub-assignments. We can discuss this by ourselves, and maybe we'll create a poll or something, because it may suit here very well to do a short assignment or sub-assignment, which is more based on like the deep learning content of the course, and then we will do another assignment which is really more focused on the textual analysis part of the course. And and maybe this has the advantage that we can do the first sub-assignment a little bit earlier in the semester, such that your workload is not too big at the end of the semester when you have all the other exams as well. Anyway, if you want to reach out to us, you can do this via email. So here you can find the email addresses, or in any other way that you are already aware of. So maybe on StudIP, or during the Zoom meetings, after the Zoom meetings. Please do not hesitate to contact us at any time, especially if you have any questions. If you have any questions, it's very likely that you're not the only person who has this question. Okay, so in this video, I just want to do the introduction and give you a short summary what you are going to do in the course. As you can see here, we will focus on deep learning methods, more specifically on various forms of neural networks and different applications of neural networks. And we will focus on textual analysis, which is, or at least the methods of it, are partly also make use of neural networks. So that kind of fits very well. And I think both streams are nowadays popular in other areas than the financial area, but in the recent years it also gained, of course, a lot attraction also in the financial area, and also has become popular there as well. So obviously finance and generally economics are driven by very large amounts of data. Just imagine all the news that you can have or take a look at for one day if you would focus on, I don't know, the major 1,000 companies on the American stock market or something like this. And then if you additionally include quantitative methods that are available for these firms, like fundamental data coming from the reports or the stock prices, or data which is related to the credit analysis area, and so on and so on. We really have nowadays access to large amounts of data, and by we, I really mean us as persons and not only companies. And this is due to APIs and different data providers, which is today quite easy and usually, most of the time without any costs to get this data. And once where you have much data, then of course one method is to use quantitative methods in order to analyze the data. And this is where we are. And of course there are many different areas how to do this, but we will do it a certain area which is called deep learning or neural networks, and also textual analysis, which I think is very helpful and very versatile with respect to the quantitative analysis. So and of course quantitative analysis is something which initially you relate to just like data, like numbers, but as already indicated in what I said earlier, is that of course we do not only have access to the numbers, we also have access to content in terms of textual content, and this is why I think it's important to combine the quantitative method in order to examine and analyze numbers, but also in order to examine text models and to translate text information into numbers, which then can be processed by quantitative models. So all the methods you will find in this course, they really exist for quite a long time, for more than decades usually. But it took some time for them to really become popular and to be applied in very many different fields. And obviously, and I think you probably heard of this, this is really related to the increasing availability of data and computational power that we have today, or that we have already like for now 10 years or 15 years. But all the ideas, they are, they have their origin, which is like a very long time ago, but like in the last 10 or 15 years, it's becoming more and more popular. And this is due to, because it's now really, possible to conduct the analysis, not only for a few people, but for all people, because we all have access to the data and the computational power. Originally, the methods we are focusing in this course have been used or have become popular in other areas than finance and economics. For instance, very popular applications relate to face recognition, speech recognition, stuff like that. But, of course, always when things are popular, they are also appealing to the financial area. And also, the financial area is driven by complex functional relationships among all the variables we can observe for companies, for institutions, and so on and so on. So they should be a natural candidate and to successfully apply machine and deep learning methods. But once you start to experiment with it, you will find out that it's not as straightforward as you might have expected. So it's not really like if you're like, and I'm speaking of my own experience now, if you just use the data, then you put the data into a fancy model and then wait for the results and expecting that the method leads all the way and you have amazing results which help you to successfully analyze what you want or to predict the future, you will see that you will fail. And then you start to wondering why you are failing. And this is also, I think, one of the very first important lectures for this course. This is because the financial area is driven by a large degree of randomness. Here you speak of a very low signal to noise ratio. What's meant by this is that it's really different to identify deterministic relationships, like you have maybe in physics or something, because even though they exist, they are blurred by a large degree of randomness. So you may capture this as, for instance, some sort of non-rational behaviors, for instance, of market participants. So assume, and I'm not saying this is the reality, but for instance, assume that maybe we would have a rule that if yesterday the company reported one fundamental factor is 10, then today its stock price should increase by one amount. This deterministic relationship is blurred because many market participants maybe don't believe that's exact in this way, and then they behave on the basis of some other reasoning they only have for themselves, and then this drives the course and the stock price again, and then you see that the original deterministic relationship is blurred by the random behavior of the participants. And this makes it very hard for the models which are basically, or which work best the more pronounced or the higher the signal to noise ratio is. And this is why it really makes it hard for the success of these methods in the financial area. So if you compare it, for instance, like for face recognition, of course we have different faces, but the way a face looks is driven by anatomy and the laws of anatomy, and you will not find a foot randomly in the area where we would expect a nose. So this is what makes it very different, like from applications like face recognition in comparison to for financial markets, where the things that happen are really driven by very large amount of complex interactions. Some of them may be following some certain type of laws and deterministic relationships, but this is really also rattled by a lot of randomness. So just remember that. Okay, but this sounds very negative, and of course I do not want to discourage you, and I want to be positive about it, because also my experiences, once you start to accept this, and once you start to really get familiar with all the methods we are doing in this course, and combine this with knowledge, especially domain-specific knowledge in the financial economic area, you will find applications of the methods we are using in this course where it works quite well and delivers us really interesting results. So just to recap, what I want to say with this is that don't expect like the deep learning stuff to be some magic form of whatever that will help you to solve your problems by themselves. But if you really are familiar with the methods and combine this with your knowledge in finance and economics, then you are really able to succeed and become amazing results from the perspective of how to best analyze relationships in this area. So I hope this motivates you. The basis of all this is that you have a really profound understanding of the methods and financial content. So how do we succeed this? Obviously I'm here to help you succeeding here and reaching this goal. So what I want to do is, first we want to get some understanding of machine and deep learning methods. We will narrow this down here and focus on methods that are related to neural networks. And sometimes it's nice to start with examples where it works quite well, and there are some common examples that are often used in these fields that are not related to finance, but maybe we'll dig a little bit into this just to show you and to motivate you. But once we are able to understand, at least in its basic form, how the methods work, then we want to take a look at some areas where I know that it can be applied in the financial area. And you will find out that even though it sounds very, narrowed down from a content perspective, that there are already so many different applications that also depend on your creativity, how you do this, that even this would be enough for a complete course. But what I think is it's not, especially in the financial area, important to include quantitative information in terms of numbers. It's also very interesting to include textual information, because I think both in the end can be quite helpful when analyzing what happens in the financial world. And this is why I wanted to add in this course not only the neural network-based methods, but also the textual methods. And what's very nice is that for certain methods, what you learn here kind of overlaps from a methods perspective. And this is why we add it like in the end of the course or the last weeks. We will focus on the textual analysis part. And yeah, once we're done with that, you will be able to combine, you will be able to gather data, get information from which is given in forms of numbers, like firm data, fundamental data, technical indicators, whatever you think about. And you can add the textual information. And then with all these streams of information, you will be able to find out or identify certain relationships in the financial area. We will focus on very straightforward tasks like predicting a little bit, for instance, predicting what asset return should be expected once we have fundamental data about a company. We will find out how we can use neural networks in order to, for instance, optimize your portfolio holdings. We will find out how we can analyze how companies report in textual form about themselves is something which can be used to say something about the future development of the company. These are all things that we are trying to tackle in the course, for which we will need all the methods we are doing here, and for which we need all the information and all your knowledge that you already have gathered in your studies. And if it works perfect, then we'll combine both strands and succeed in finding out interesting and complex relationships in the financial area and world. So I hope this makes you excited about the course. I'm excited about the course. I always loved especially all the methods we are doing in this course here. And hopefully I will give you a good introduction into these areas and in these fields, and then you hopefully can share some of the excitement of my excitement, and also I hope that you enjoy the course and that this will all motivate you to work hard to succeed and in the end achieve a very good grade as well, because I know this is obviously very important to you. So anyway, see you soon. In the next videos we will directly dive into the methods and start into the world of neural networks and all its various applications that they come along with. So take care and see you in the next video.